Today on Keeping It Real.
We are here with Dustin Lafont of Front Yard Bikes. You actually were a school teacher for working with middle school aged children when something happened that kind of was a pivotal turning point that kind of launched you into doing Front Yard Bikes full time.
He's planting in them. He's saying, you are who God says you are.
Yeah.
You know, it's even bigger than what you see it is, because you never know what's going on behind the scene, and all they need is for you to pour that into them, for them to do better in life, you know? Yeah. It's just so inspiring.
Yeah.
Kristen Maddox overcame a 12-year addiction. Now she pulls others out knowing that some have escaped death for the last time. Shauna Butler understands the pain of sexual abuse. Now she uses her voice to unhush the little girls inside of women she counsels. This is Keeping It Real.
Good morning and welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm Kristen Maddox.
And I'm Shauna Butler.
And we are here with Dustin Lafont of Front Yard Bikes. And he has a nonprofit organization here in Baton Rouge where you actually reach out to kids in the community. And Dustin, we're so happy that you're able to be here on Keeping It Real today. But before we get into what you do with your nonprofit organization, will you share with our viewers just a little bit about your testimony?
Sure, and thank you guys both for having me here on Keeping It Real. So I think from a very young age, my family came from a Catholic background, and I remember when my parents started to get into some new gospel truths about who God is and who He's made us to be and who Christ is to our family. And even though our family did not have a very sizable income, our parents always made strives to support missions and to support outreach to others, to share love and share who God and Christ is to the world. And I remember specifically I was 18. I was obviously, like any 18-year-old, really into myself, into what I was going to do, going to school and my friends. And my mother told me that we were going to go on a mission trip to Nicaragua with the church. And I told her that I thought that I should do that maybe next year. And she said, no, you're going now. And so I spent my summer not going on any kind of vacation, not doing anything really extracurricular-wise, but going to Nicaragua, which is a third world country, and it was only about 20 years after a civil war that they had, and the Communist Party is in charge of this country. So obviously, Western, vibes and Christians aren't always easy topics in this country. Yeah. So when we went, I was exposed just to the level of poverty that people experience around the world in third world countries, to go and participate on a church and see that the people are worshiping on dirt floors and wooden pews, wooden walls, and, sometimes straw for the roof, and going from church to church and seeing how, irregardless of their circumstances, how God's being faithful to them in their day and day, and how they are seeking Him and His grace to provide for their lives. It was so much more for me to experience that and to know that God was shaping a level of empathy in me that I could have a relationship with someone in great need and not feel more of a sense of what I need and what I want, more to see someone else and be able to think about what it's like to walk in their shoes and, participate on their day-to-day living.
That's something, because here in America, we have everything. But when you go somewhere, like a place like that, where God is all that they have. Yeah. And so you see, the worship experience is even different because God is all they have. So they want all that they can get from Him. And it does make a difference. So tell us a little bit about your Front Yard Bikes.
So Front Yard Bikes is a community nonprofit, 501c3 in Baton Rouge, specifically in South Baton Rouge area, where we teach kids mechanics after school by teaching them how to fix their bikes and then letting them earn their bike by the hour and get the experience of what it's like to earn a wage, to do a chore or task, and to also earn what they get to receive, therefore enriching them as the person that they're capable of being. So instead of kind of going from a charity aspect, we try to enrich and empower our kids to say, yes, you can, and you can do it. And a lot of cases we can share that God is a strength of why we can do it, which is kind of a special experience we get to have with our kids. But we are expanding to be open at 2 different bike shops in Baton Rouge. We're open 12 to 6 Monday through Thursday and 12 to 3 on Friday. And we're getting to share more and more with the families and adults who need services to have their bikes repaired for travel and different other things. We're getting to outreach into our community.
And so as you were sharing a little bit about your story, it kind of made me think, that God really kind of laid a foundation and prepared you for what he was going to be calling you to do. Because probably when you were on that missions trip, you weren't thinking, God's going to call me to open up a nonprofit organization called Front Yard Bikes, but he was preparing you the whole time.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. I'd say that, I had my own personal bike that I rode to get to campus when I was at LSU and at University of Louisiana Lafayette. And primarily it was to save money, to pinch pennies, not to have parking passes, gas, and all the other things. Or the car breaking down, I had to keep it up and keep it going. So it was mostly I'd fix it myself, and every little thing that would break, you probably could catch me maybe being mad and wanting to curse the situation. And here God is probably breaking it for the sake that I would learn a new thing and learn a new way, because I learned the ins and outs and backwards and forwards. And I even came into contact with people who, not necessarily wanted to outreach to me, but helped me and taught me things, and different mechanics who assisted me, who were very supportive and allowing me to learn. Sometimes in the back of their bike shops, they're just on point and letting me purchase things that were used, and little things that assisted me to keep getting opportunities that I look back and I know for a fact that's a godsend in itself. That our program really was birthed out of, God shaping a path. Because it wasn't so much that it was a clear vision and it was, let's have this idea, let's get kids, let's get this, as much it was kids engaging me when they said, hey, my bike's broken, can you help me out? And I said, sure. And going from meeting with one kid on the front yard of my house to having 15 kids in the front yard of my house, and I can't find the tools, and I'm thinking, okay, God, what are you trying to do to me here? Why are you developing this kind of program when this isn't where I saw things going in our relationship here? And he took it in a direction which makes it very easy for me to walk in with the knowledge that he's in control of the situation. He's in control of what we're doing. And I need to just be in tune with the Holy Spirit and listen and walk through the doors that are open. And knock on the doors that are closed, but not to be stressed if they don't open for me, because there's somewhere else. There's another door that he has, and we're just going to keep doing that on a day-to-day. And we found an incredible amount, of success, surprisingly, that just a testimony really to who he is, and really a testimony to who our kids are, because he's not investing in children for just the heck of it or just because they're needy. No, he's investing in them because he knows we need them in the city of Baton Rouge, and he has big plans for them, and they are just as valuable as any other person on this planet, and just as capable as any person on this planet. And if you don't, for those people who say, well, I'm not sure, I see those rough edges, just watch God and what he's doing in their lives. And you tell me what that says about who God thinks these kids are.
That's right. Oh, that's so good.
I love it. I love it. We're going to take a commercial break. I can't wait to get back from commercial break, so stay tuned.
Today, girls will die as a result of drug overdose, domestic violence, and even suicide. It doesn't have to end like this. There is hope. A Door of Hope provides free services to girls and women who are stuck in a vicious cycle. If you or someone you know needs help, call today, 225-665-HOPE, or visit our website at adoreofhopela.com.
Welcome back to Keeping It Real. We are here with Dustin Lafont of Front Yard Bikes. And Dustin, when we went to break, we kind of shared off camera a little bit about the fact that you actually were a school teacher for working with middle school aged children, when something happened that kind of was a pivotal turning point that kind of launched you into doing Front Yard Bikes full time. Can you share with our viewers what that was?
Yes, ma'am. So I was a teacher full time, teaching history at Westdale Middle School, and I really enjoyed that aspect. I enjoyed reaching out to the kids on a personal level, on a day-to-day. But at the time, I was invited by LSU to do a TED Talk event where we would share the program we were doing after school where we were teaching kids mechanics. At this time, we're only meeting with our kids twice a week on Tuesday and Friday. And we were mentoring them in the shape of taking responsibility for what the kids are capable of doing and shaping them into mechanics. And not just mechanics, but shaping it to perception that you can do any career. Because here you weren't a mechanic when you showed up, but you are now.
Right.
So shaping them in that capacity. And the TED Talk event asked us to come and share our kids' story, which we do gladly. And when we did, they were supposedly donors in the crowd, and we started getting attention. People started contacting me, asking, how can we help you? What can we do? And it went from being, I'm teaching very well and doing this after school program well, to I'm not doing either one both very well, because one's growing and it's, taking my time to be an educator, taking my time to do this. And I realized, okay, someone's going to be able to teach world history. I wish it was me, but someone's going to be able to do it. But there's not anybody right now that's going to do this program. And it took prayer, asking the Father what we could do. We told our donors, okay, I'm a teacher. I'd like to get a teacher salary to pay for my family to continue to have a living. I'm a father and I'm a husband. And the donor said, well, that's easy. You're a teacher, so we can pay that. So they supported me to do that. And, we grew to open our shop every day of the week from 12 to 6 to service some adults in the community who needed services, to assist them with getting materials for their day and day. And I started doing school visitations where I was able to go to the schools my kids were attending to check their academic and behavior to make sure that they are being the person that we know God's created them to be on a day and day. And having that conversation of, okay, God didn't create you to be the class clown. He did create you to be a leader, which is why when you speak, people are listening. But he did not create you to be a class clown, and that's not acceptable. Good. We're not going to have D's. I know you're making C's, but you're an A student. That's who you are. Doesn't mean you're going to get A's every day, but you will seek them because that's what you are. You're an A student. And kind of pushing that person just to encourage our kids not to change, not to be modified, not to suddenly act like they're in school or act like they're on the street or act like, no, you're going to act like who you are and who you've been made to be in this life. And we encouraged that and started to be able to do that. And that's been my greatest joy, is going to school, seeing my kids be successful, and then go to them and say, hey, come here. You know what your teacher told me? She says you're ahead of the class. Keep it up. You're fantastic. And be able to enjoy. That's an enjoyment. That's the best experience. I miss it when I go to the school and I think, man, if I had these kids for the 90-minute block and I can share that. But we get to share in different capacity. It's a great thing. It's really a great thing.
So what inspires you, to work with these kids?
Well, I would say on the first time we met my first kids, and I met Rajay Wilson and Austin Wilson and Rashay Wilson. They were family, three kids, 2 of them twins. And I say that they are more founders of the program than me because they're the ones who came to my house knocking at all hours of the day, 8 in the morning, 6 at night. Didn't matter, asking for work in their bike. Sometimes they didn't even need it, but they just wanted to hang out. I know that now. Back then, I was still just, we worked together and helped each other. And really, honestly, in my personal life, the church I was participating at Grace Life Fellowship, we were discussing the identity of who God's made us, and who's Christ made us, and who our identity is as their children and as sanctified individuals in Christ. And not only did God didn't come and save us as wretched, terrible to be. He knew the gold of the person that He's made us to be. Therefore, it challenged me to recognize that in other individuals. Because our kids had rough edges. They don't use always polite language or gestures or, come clean and come polite and respect. All those things aren't there. But it doesn't mean they're not the person who God is going to make them to be.
That's right.
That personage is right there. And that is at any moment in time, they're capable of being who God wants them to be. He's called them from the womb to the present day to be His children. So I was challenged to recognize that. Here's God's kids. So what does that challenge me to do? Well, I need to serve them. I need to love on them. And I need to be the person that God wants me to be to them, which isn't, of course, going to have to be family, because that's who the family of God is. It's a family. So we had to go through those lengths, and man, we were stretched, of course, when you're thinking about those late nights, thinking about those early mornings, thinking about trouble in school and other things. But when you realize you're serving the children of the King, there is no measure that you should not go through to serve Him. Because that's his children. That's what he's aspiring you to be on a day-to-day. And that goes for anyone in the church, which is, basically the great calling that everyone has to seek is, man, here's these kids, here's these people, and we're called to love them. We're called to give them. And sometimes it's beyond, what we're capable of. But when we reach, God provides. And he really does. And so just seeking that, trying to challenge them to see their identity as great, see themselves as beautiful personages, and be those people. And be that on a day-to-day, and not be fearful of error or mistake, and not identify with failure, but identify with the greatness that is inside them, and God's made them to be.
How old are the kids that you work with, like youngest to oldest?
We serve 6 to 18 and in school. We do a big emphasis on our kids being present in school, but primarily we'll go as little as kindergarten all the way up to high school.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
His story is just so inspiring. To think, I know a while back we had a young man on the show, Elijah Evans, and he talked about no use for abuse. And I was just listening to Dustin's story and just thinking about how the kids that come to him, when he first meet them, he don't know what's going on within their household. Right. But because he's planting in them, he's saying, you are who God says you are. Yeah. It's even bigger than what you see it is, because you never know what's going on behind the scene, and all they need is for you to pour that into them, for them to do better in life. It's just so inspiring.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, they inspire us. Yeah. They really do.
Well, we're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more about Front Yard Bikes and the work that Dustin is called to do with kids right here in Baton Rouge when we come back.
Today, girls will die as a result of drug overdose, domestic violence, and even suicide. It doesn't have to end like this. There is hope. A Door of Hope provides free services to girls and women who are stuck in a vicious cycle. If you or someone you know needs help, call today, 225-665-HOPE, or visit our website at adoreofhopela.com.
I'm Pastor Philip Pimlott, and this is my wife Kelly, and we want to extend a special invitation for you to come and visit us at Heartsease Family Life Church. Heartsease is a safe place for you and your family, a place where life starts, love happens, and purpose is revealed.
Our church is located at 12112 Florida Boulevard, and our services are Sunday mornings at 9 and 11 and Wednesday evenings at 6:45.
For more information, check out our website, hflc.us. Welcome home.
Welcome back to Keeping It Real. We are here with Dustin Lafont of Front Yard Bikes. And Dustin, before we went to commercial break, you were just sharing what inspires you to work with our kids. So what is it that you'd like our viewers to know about your kids?
Our kids are incredible people. I get to represent the program, but I'm not the program. We have God to thank, and we have our wonderful kids that he has created and invested the personage of just being them. And so I love that I get to experience sharing their story and being a part of the story. Please do not credit me with that, because these kids are wonderful people. They're hard workers day in and day out. If all of them could come and stand in front of the camera, they would, and probably all talk at once. But at the same time, I love the honor, and I love getting the recognition from Blue Cross Blue Shield and from other organizations. But really, our testimony is our kids.
Yes.
And that's something that we try to tell the community on a regular basis. That's who they are.
Yes. So how can viewers get in touch with you? How can they be a part of what you're doing?
Well, viewers can easily communicate with us at frontyardbikes.com or email us at frontyardbikes@gmail.com. And donations are always helpful, but we love it when people come and either spend time with us just looking at our program, looking at our kids, seeing different needs that maybe we have, and maybe just communicating with our kids because we're obviously a divided community in Baton Rouge. We have different people from different economic classes, different environments. And when people come, it exposes our kids to different individuals who care and who are sincere about them being successful. We say often, as of recent, we don't believe our kids are charity cases. We believe our kids are investable because they're going to control the future, and we're investing in them to see a successful South Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And so that's kind of the ideology we have. So people coming for that purpose, or bicycles, we always take bikes. We always take other things that people can donate for us to tinker with and build with and develop. And our kids love seeing fun, new things come through the door that we can build and fix and create.
And so,
oh, I'm sorry.
Dustin, when the kids work on these bikes and after they have really earned that bike because they put it together, they worked on it, and don't you take them out on bike rides and stuff? Can you share what that's about?
Yes, ma'am. Every Friday, we try to take our kids on a community bike ride to different locations. Some for the purpose of educating them on this is where you can go that are safe environments, parks, libraries, museums, places you can advance your own personal learning or enjoy your bike. And then we also try to teach them a safe way of getting there, getting to those locations, which is always a challenge within our city of Baton Rouge, and trying to help them identify, what's a dangerous thing that's going on in the neighborhood and how to navigate it. So we enjoy that aspect. And sometimes we get to go to places and show our kids different careers so that they have more exposure to what they can do. Because even though we do mechanics, we do wood shop, we're trying to do welding and gardening and a bunch of other fun things, we're not trying to establish those things as our kids' careers as much an exposure to careers that they're capable of doing and advancing, what they're going to do in the future, basically as a launching pad for them to think, hey, I can do this and enjoy this and make a wage doing it. I think I'll try it. Because so many kids don't really aspire for what they don't know is possible.
Right.
So we try to share that and educate them on those opportunities.
What would you say to people that want to serve others in their community?
I did not know that God was equipping me as a bike mechanic to serve kids and serve our community. I believed in being, an advocate in the classroom, being a teacher. I believed in people standing from the pulpit. I didn't think tinkering with a bike would touch as many hearts and touch as many kids' lives as it has. So he equipped me. Basically, God, I think, equips anybody in this planet to serve and help someone else. Irregardless of whether you'll get attention or not for it, it gets attention in God's kingdom when a saint serves someone else and loves someone else. That's important news in the eternal realm, in my opinion. So reaching in your community, seeing needs that you can help with, and being involved in those needs. Because obviously, as a believer, God's placed you in your community for a reason.
That's right.
You didn't know that the housing market was there for you to buy that house, to be there for that moment, but you are.
Right.
And God is going to give you an opportunity to love your neighbor. I mean, it's one of the greatest commandments out there. So he's giving you that opportunity. And they'll come. Just be willing to, maybe take that first awkward step through that door to help someone else in something small. And you'll see it grow to a beautiful act of kindness and love that someone needs.
When we were at commercial break, you had shared a quote. Can you share that quote with the viewers?
Yes, ma'am. My favorite quote, because it's always a challenge for us to share, who God is to our kids. We don't always sit down and have lessons. We don't always even get to share as much verbally as much as we're just in their lives. So I learned a lot from Francis of Assisi, who said, preach the gospel at all times, and when necessary, use your words. And that spoke to me as, hey, we're preaching the gospel. We're preaching the gospel by me saying thank you to a kid who picked up, or maybe to a kid that said, hey, here's the wrench you're missing. I'm preaching the gospel in that moment. Or, hey, guys, let's gather together, have a snack, and let's appreciate this, We're preaching the gospel moment to moment. And it's not through, standing on a box and having the Bible open.
Right.
Because we're just getting to share and be in their lives. And that's, I've learned so much from that, and learning that that's the impact we're having on a daily basis.
And you were also talking about how you guys will go around and just be thankful.
Yes.
just thankful.
Yes, every day we circle up and we try to share something about ourselves, share some announcements, and usually we have a moment of Thanksgiving. Me personally, that's a prayer, and I usually say that prayer over the group as let's be thankful for what we have here, our health, our ability to help others, our ability to do this, and that we're grateful that we are the most incredible people in the city of Baton Rouge, doing great things, and we have incredible kids. We have the best kids in the city of Baton Rouge. We have recruited you to be here and recruited them to be here. And that kind of generates understanding of, let me just spell my needs and what I think I need and understand to assist everyone else in their needs as well, because I need to appreciate. And that sometimes is a really good moment for our kids to kind of sit back and think and not be so me, now I want.
What would you like
grow.
to say to your kids?
You guys are awesome. Y'all are the best. Y'all should give a round of applause for keeping it real, for realizing how cool we are. Good for them. But you all know it, and you know it's true. So be your best. Go to school. Be intelligent. You're capable of greatness on a daily basis. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see y'all at the shop today.
That's awesome, Dustin. I do have a question.
Yes.
What's the feedback you get from the parents?
Our parents enjoy that, we're not asking them for any payment for helping engaging their kids.
Right.
So we do get to tutor, we get to be engaged with them on mentoring and some different life skills. And they appreciate the opportunity because otherwise there's very limited things the kids maybe get to do at home versus, where they can go that's safe and under supervision, most importantly, by an adult who, isn't looking to take any kind of advantage of a child.
Right.
So I think we get a lot of appreciation. We do have a lot of respect from our parents and a lot of support in terms of they want their kids to be engaged with us and they want their kids to be responsible for themselves academically, behaviorally, and respectfully to adults in our environment. And that makes it really easy to tell our kids what we expect of them, and communicating with their parents is very important. The parents support us and tell their kids, no, you're going to be respectful and you're going to listen because I know what this program is about.
Right.
So our kids are great, and our parents are very supportive, really for the most part. And they have great desires for their kids.
Yeah.
But the challenges are always paramount in this world. The challenges are so big, and so few people really realize that with parents who are struggling on a day-to-day to have the resources and have the things for the kids they want them to have. So we get to be kind of a special thing, helping a kid get a bike, get some ownership, and get some, responsibility for themselves. It's a really special thing.
And so you're looking for volunteers, bike
Always.
donations, and they can go to your website at
frontyardbikes.com.
frontyardbikes.com.
Thank you so much, Dustin. I was thinking about the scripture that said, "Ye are my epistles known and read of men." And some of these kids may never open a Bible, but they can see it in you. And I know whatever you're under, that's what's going to fall on you. So we appreciate you being that for them so that one day they can be that for somebody else. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Keeping It Real. Until next time, bye-bye.
Do you have a story? Send your personal story to info@adoreofhopela.com for a chance to be selected as a guest on the morning talk show, Keeping It Real.
Thank you to our sponsors. If you'd like to help sponsor the show Keeping It Real, please call 225-665-4673. That's 225-665-4673.